certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 that fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 wop.
Lo siento.
What?
I'm sorry.
For what?
The raids? They're looking for you.
Lily, I was born here.
What about your family?
They're illegal too.
All of them?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Even your cousins?
Oh my God. Yes.
I just don't believe it.
ICE and the Marines. You've got to be kidding me. And the craziest part, no one's talking about this.
You know that the U.S. had concentration camps in the late 1920s?
This woman literally escapes alleged ICE agents when she makes it onto her property.
No tiene autoridad. Ustedes no tienen ninguna autoridad sobre nosotros. Ven, su madre, pendejos.
Isn't this just kidnapping?
Asking them to install a bunch of incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. Asking them to install a bunch of incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz.
We found a place out in the middle of the desert north of our property that has bones and boots and
all sorts of
kids' backpacks.
You guys see this in China? They're painting all the roofs blue. Paint it blue to avoid the dew. You saw in Hawaii where everything blue didn't burn because lasers don't burn blue, right? Do you think that's anything new? No, man.
The Mountain Dew conspiracy is actually real. I know, I could tell the future, apparently.
Okay, quick trot, quick trot. Good, pony. Oh, that's it. Yes.
Pony play is a form of costumed role play. You become an animal mentally and act accordingly.
Okay, Raptor. Forward you go.
Airships. Actual boats that were attached to one or more balloons in the 1700s.
A year ago, I did a video talking about how Theo Von's father was basically Polish royalty, literally an aristocrat. His name is Roland von Kernakowski Sr. Roland was good friends with the controversial figure Harry Connick Sr. Harry Connick Sr. was the replacement to Jim Garrison. Jim Garrison was in charge of the investigations after the assassination of JFK. He was also the man who ordered that the autopsy files of JFK be burned. Only reason that we even have the assassination records is because the person who was told to burn them disobeyed the order. Connick Sr., friends of Roland, also repeatedly defended the New Orleans mob and various other nefarious sketchy things. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Roland was also the chairman of the Un-American Activities Committee of the U.S. Senate. He was basically a federal asset who was in charge of propagandizing all of the Contras that were going on in South America. You know that funny bit of information where Theo Von always talks about how he's Nicaraguan and how it kind of doesn't make sense because he's a white guy? That's because his father spent time in Nicaragua defending American propaganda to end the communist movements that were happening down in South America. And apparently Theo's half-brother was SHOT in the chest while hunting for boars. That's truly borecore. About borecore getting borecore. One of the even more insane things that I read was that Theo Von used to go to the gym with David Duke. David Duke is literally a grand wizard for the KKK, alright? This Twitter thread was done by Parapower Mapping. That's where I got the information for this. Now, Theo Von being a Polish aristocrat, I did find that myself about a year ago, just based off of articles and reading and everything else. But this is from his Twitter thread, so I'm giving him props here and sourcing him here. Interesting answer to this that would answer a lot of the questions I see in comments about Theo. Says, why did Theo grow up so poor then? And he says, I suspect it's a misrepresentation of his childhood. The only possible explanation is that his mother and the elder Roland von Kernakowski Sr. split up when Theo was really young. His father cut them off or something. It appears they would be very prosperous by New Orleans standards otherwise. I think the big takeaway here is that it's okay to enjoy Theo's comedy. It's okay to enjoy anything. You can enjoy whatever you like. But if you know where things are coming from, you might know and have an inkling that there might be some sort of agenda. I think that that's important when we expand that out onto other celebrities and the people they associate themselves with and the people they hang out with and the politicization of literally everything.
Did you guys know that we give Israel $4 billion a year in taxpayer funds, no strings attached? Did you know that Israel has free college? Did you know that Israel has free socialized medicine? And as part of that free socialized medicine, Did you know that Israel provides its citizens with free, on-demand abortions? So, did you know that your tax dollars pay for free, on-demand abortions in Israel?
This island has one of the most disturbing histories in America, and no one really knows the full truth behind it. So like I said before, this island was owned by multi-millionaire Francis Sheldon, pictured right here. And Francis and a number of other local men from Michigan, including this guy, Gerald S. Richards, ran a boys' camp on the island. They would fly kids to the island on this airstrip, kids from the YMCA and other schools and communities in the area. And both the children and the parents of the children who attended this boys' camp were told that this was an island of fun where kids could relax. They had big brothers there. It was going to be totally safe. And this camp ran on this island for a period of years. Then one day, some of the kids who attended the camp began to tell their parents that the counselors or the teachers, the adults that were there on the island, had behaved with them in very, very inappropriate ways. They began telling their friends and parents that they were taken into these cabins pictured here on the island. They were assaulted. They were told to remove all of their clothing and that there were cameras all over the place. Well, it turns out that this guy, the multi-millionaire with political and business connections in the area, Francis Sheldon, was running a massive CP ring. And they had been abusing the children on this island under the guise of bringing them to a boys' camp for years, recording all of it, selling it across the world. And some of the more affluent clients of their business were even allowed to take trips to the island themselves to see some of these young boys.
I will share this with you, Chuck.
Listen up! What's my name?
1 hour later, WikiLeaks starts dropping my emails.
You think you're hot shit, don't you?
Just get lost into the public. One could say that there might have, those things might not have been a coincidence.
Who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster.
What's my name?
And if you don't know who John Podesta is, absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
My other name, what do you call me? I am your father!
Okay. 2 days later, the FBI contacted me, and the first thing the agent said to me was, I don't know if you're aware, but your email account might have been hacked.
When did
I said
you
yes.
know?
Yeah, I said yes.
From now on, you will call me your father. Shut up! You will call me your father.
Know that these pictures exist, and I can describe them. There are about a dozen of them. The ones I specifically remember is two of them with topless girls of an uncertain age sitting on Trump's lap, and then Trump standing there with a stain on the front of his pants, and 3 or 4 girls kind of bent over in laughter. They're topless too, pointing at Trump's pants.
Well, now I'm recording like right to TikTok because like is getting real now. So we're off north of our property a little bit, and we were looking for places that naturally hold water, and we found this like little pond that's like north of an arroyo, and this thing is filled with kids' backpacks.
Like filled with backpacks.
And there's like a mound here. And
there's like a bunch of signs
there's more
of, like,
backpacks.
wildlife activity,
like if you dig down,
it's like
there's backpacks. There's little kids' backpacks here.
Don't be too loud, sister. Please.
Like there are kids' fucking backpacks here. I'm armed, but we found a place out in the middle of the desert north of our property that has bones and boots and
all sorts of
kids' backpacks. Yeah. This is getting really, really weird. You smell that?
What?
Something smells like sweet.
No.
Like it smells like laundry detergent. Do you smell that? And there's like...
Well, you know it smells that like sweet like that out in places like out here.
So we just hit a point where we found like our 5th backpack or bag after finding that boot. And yeah, we're done. We're going to head back to the property. Going to have to contact somebody about this because one of our neighbors was really interested when we found bones on our property. And that guy's been really against us having social media. So I think it's... Sorry, we're kind of in shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to have to figure this out, but we just found a bunch of backpacks and like personal belongings.
In the 1950s, the town of Port Gibson, Mississippi, had 2 water systems, one for white residents, one for black residents. But here's the kicker, the black system was intentionally poisoned. Port Gibson city records from 1954 show that engineers diverted runoff water from industrial plants directly into the black neighborhood's water lines. Complaints piled up, skin rashes, stomach illnesses, children hospitalized. City officials claimed it was a maintenance error. But an investigation in the 1980s uncovered internal memos confirming it wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. One line read, "Contaminants are unlikely to cause fatalities, but will discourage overpopulation." Read that again. Black families were paying taxes for water that was slowly poisoning them. No one was charged, no restitution, no acknowledgement to this day.
I am a black Egyptian. My father is much darker than I am. My mother is lighter than I am. In Egypt, people are identified by the religion first, not the race. So in Egypt, if you are Christian, you are a minority person. But if you're black, you're not a minority person. You are a part of the mainstream society. And I came from this background. And in Egypt, you identify as Arab and as Muslim. And in this country, when I first came, I identified myself as Arab American and Muslim first. And gradually, I became to identify myself as black. I came to the U.S. in 1978. And I became a U.S. citizen in 1985. When I became a U.S. resident, I was told by the Immigration and Naturalization that I am white. And I told them that I'm black, and they said, no, in this country, you are white. All Arabs in this country, all Arab immigrants are white. I didn't pay much attention in the beginning to this, because in the Arab world, we identify with our ethnicity first as Arabs, and then with the race second as black or white or whatever. But in this country, you identify with your racial group first and then with your ethnicity second. Gradually, I became black first and Arab second. And I rejected my white classification publicly for the first time in 1987.
It's this big-ass white dude. He's big. He look about 6'8", 6'9", and he's screaming at these cops.
You're not doing your fucking job, motherfucker! I did this shit for 20 fucking years! You cannot de-escalate shit!
I think he's having like PTSD. I think he was a veteran, and he's going off on these dudes. And there's like 3 cops, and the cops are talking to him, trying to calm him down. And he's going, yeah, what the fuck you gonna do about it now? It's almost like he's like a wrestler. He's like some WWE type shit. Snapping at these dudes, like literally going, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. These cops are like, yo, relax, yo, calm down. I just wanted to talk about this because, you know, cops actually do know how to properly act. It just depends on the race that they're talking to. I just wanted to reiterate, that just proves cops do like to kill black people. Yeah, brown people too. This white dude is literally going, fuck you, I will beat your ass. Black person comes out and say, here's my ID. And they fucking tase them, they do all kinds of shit. I think there are a lot of policemen around the world, not just America, are trained when they see the brown complexion, they just snap. They're given the orders to go, yeah, go fuck those black people up. Go fuck those Latin people up. Fuck them up as soon as you see them. If they're white, give them some time. Try to calm the situation down. That's how I feel. You guys react to people like a street light. That's what you do. It's like, you know, you react when you see green, you react when you see red, you react when you see yellow. We're like human street traffic lights. So when you see white, calm it down. Everything's calm. You see brown, Yeah, snap. You see black. If it's darker, even snap more. When some cops are driving down the street, they see black faces, they automatically slow down and start looking around. They see white faces, they're just speeding through. Hey, policeman, you do have the ability to treat people fairly. You do have the ability to not have to use your weapon unless necessary. So, yeah, some of you are pieces of shit.
They got him, man. They got him. Bill Clinton, and this is the Rainmaker guy. You know, the weather modification guy in Texas? Oh, yeah, that's him. Look at his little mullet, dude. Yeah.
My name is Augustus Dorico. I'm the CEO and founder of Rainmaker. We're a cloud seeding company that is enhancing precipitation via advanced radar.
Before we go any further, guys, and girls, wherever else, TDLR, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. Weather modification and control means changing, controlling, or attempting to change the control of the natural development of atmospheric cloud forms, precipitation forms that occur in the troposphere. So we're clear too. Here's a weather modification enhancement, rain enhancement map by the projects in Texas. This is where all that bad stuff happened. It happened in between the green and the red, I do believe. So that means that, you know, it definitely wasn't them, or it wasn't anything to do with this right here, right? Good. I've noticed lots and lots of very strange clouds forming around North Carolina lately. And about an hour from where we're at is a lot of hardcore flooding, man. So y'all pray for those people, and it's all we can do.
When people were sleeping, because the flood hit in the very early hours of the morning. So people were sleeping in the middle of the night when this flood came. That was an act of God. It's not the administration's fault that the flood hit when it did.
Was she smiling? I'm not American, but even from here, this feels so wrong. If the Trump administration blamed someone else, I wouldn't be surprised. But God? More than 100 people dead. 28 were children. This isn't just weather. It's a disaster that could have been prevented. And when people are in pain, you don't smile. You show empathy.
Look at these pictures. They had airships collecting free energy from the skin of the airship with a big dew on it, and they just went around and just melted everything. That's why a lot of these Tartarian buildings are just freaking melted. And look at the catacombs. Look at the catacombs in France. 6 million skeletons stacked up. Those were stacked with no flesh. How did they get the flesh off the skeletons, man? Because they scorched it with a dew from a hot air balloon. Now, these airships just went around just... So between anthrax and the airships, and then what else they had? They had moonlight towers all over. The cities were all lit up. So if you weren't in the occult and you tried to sneak out and get some food, boom, it was daylight at 3 in the morning. Yeah, that's how they did it, people. And then what was left? Nothing but children. Nothing but kids left. Orphan trains, right? Mailing kids through the post. The Cabbage Patch Kids, you could mail a kid across the country. So they took the kids from America, sent them to Australia. The kids from Australia sent them to America. Just bamboozled these children, traumatized them. They took all their parents away. So it's trauma-based mind control. And then they raised an entire generation of occult. And that, people, is why so many people are in the occult. And the other fact that almost everybody's a fucking coward.
Wait, let me tell you something. 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 Wait.
Brady Feigl is a 6'4", fiery hair, glasses wearing, minor league baseball player. Brady Feigl is also a 6'4", fiery hair, glasses wearing, minor league baseball player. They are not related. They have the same name. The Brady Feigls even took a genetic test after they discovered each other in 2016, and they're not even remotely related genetically. It's almost like we're in the dimension with the 2 minor league Brady Feigls. That's the identifier of this timeline. Can we get a statistician on this? How many billionth chances just that they are doppelgangers and the same height and the same exact name? But they also both play minor league baseball?
Outside of my family, I didn't think there were any Feigls.
Look, we have to take certain things seriously. We should always empathize with the suffering of others, stand up against injustice. But this is the Matrix, and the architect is laughing.
Apparently you could tell the future. Do you want to tell them what happened? What happened on May 7th, Brian?
May 7th was when we posted our video, right?
Correct.
And in that video, we went over all the Mountain Dew conspiracy theories about how their new release flavors follow up with current events that are usually harmful to society.
Okay, so let's just recap real quick.
Let's recap.
Right? So the Code Red flavor came out in 2001. We know what happened in 2001, 9/11.
Unfortunately.
Maui Burst. What happened?
The wildfires in Maui.
Star Spangled Splash.
Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
That bridge fell in Baltimore.
Correct.
Pitch Black.
Blackout in the IT world shortly after.
Tropical Swirl.
There was hurricanes that wouldn't stop in Southeast America.
And at the end of that video, we mentioned the new flavor that came out, Mango Rush.
Yeah.
You said because Little Caesars is exclusively having it, that there's a lot in Texas and there will be floods.
The fact of the matter is that the only place they were serving this at the point of the release of the Mango Rush flavor was at Little Caesars. I said jokingly that there's the most Little Caesars in Texas. Apparently that's incorrect.
Yeah, I think it's California.
It's California.
Right?
But I want to give background for the people just so they know why I said that, because the week prior, or maybe like 2 days prior to us recording that and finding this out, we were in Houston, Texas, filming with Tracy McGrady a podcast, and we saw a Little Caesars right down the street from where we were filming with Tracy McGrady. It was just top of mind. I was like, Little Caesars, Texas, it makes sense.
No, you said it because you could see the future.
I don't want to see the future that way, though.
In 1927, levees along the Mississippi River burst in over 145 places, flooding a region the size of New England. Over 100,000 homes were destroyed, farmland and livestock was ruined, hundreds died, and 700,000 people in Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi were displaced. President Calvin Coolidge didn't believe in federal intervention, so he appointed Herbert Hoover to oversee the Red Cross's efforts. The Coast Guard, Army, and Navy rounded up those displaced into Red Cross camps, which were segregated by race since this was during Jim Crow. In Mississippi, black camps quickly turned into labor camps. Plantation owners requested the governor and the National Guard to ensure black residents stayed to work and to guard them against, quote, a possible influx of labor agents who would seize this opportunity to take the refugees to the north and give them work. Whites were allowed to evacuate, but black men were ordered to, quote, stay in established camps. Houseless black women and children also stayed in these camps to be with their sons and fathers. Black men were ordered by whites they did not know to repair homes, businesses, and plantations. Signs in Mississippi read, refugee labor is free to all white men. Those who didn't work or tried to escape were beaten or killed by National Guard troops patrolling the camps. Black evacuees were forced to repair levees, clean towns, and haul supplies off ships and into camps, trudging for miles through knee-deep water and mud. While whites enjoyed cooked meat and canned peaches, black camps only received bread. Whites received new clothes and health care and moved into large stores and hotels, while black evacuees lived along livestock and slept outside on wet ground. Over 300,000 black Americans were interned in 154 camps. In some camps, black men were forced to wear collars to keep track of work assignments and what plantation they came from. Since Coolidge didn't provide funds, Hoover and the Red Cross manufactured a positive image with the media to get funds. So they kept the physical detainment and denial of proper food and shelter a secret. People from across the country donated to charity, unaware that their funds were siphoned to uphold these camps. The cover-up bolstered Hoover's reputation as a great humanitarian, and this national hero persona catapulted him to the presidency. After the camps closed due to lack of funds, millions of black Southerners left the South, exacerbating the Great Migration. Historians apply the term concentration camps because of forced labor, deplorable conditions, and the imprisonment of innocent people of one particular group. You won't find this history in U.S. classrooms or textbooks.
Now, along with Charles Ogletree and Randall Robinson and some really great lawyers, we're gonna try to fashion a strategy to sue for slavery reparations in this country, to bring a lawsuit. It's not the most popular thing everywhere, but that's not the test. The test is slavery was wrong. The government sanctioned and benefited from it. You can't have, 200 or 300 years of free labor built to help build the country. When you go to Washington, you look at those monuments like the Washington Monument, built by slaves. Nobody ever got any compensation for that. You got to look at it realistically, I think. So I think these are new challenges we have to face.
Johnny will never retire.
It's a journey to justice.
Immigrants are now getting bills from DHS, invoices for penalties owed, and this is real, this is not a scam, because these rules were published effective June 27th, imposition and collection of civil penalties for immigration-related violations. June 27th article, Trump admin to fine migrants up to $1,000 a day without prior notice. You know why they're doing this? Because Trump used a system like this to have slave labor in Dubai. There was a 2016 Vice documentary called Trump in Dubai that has been scrubbed from the internet. I cannot find it. Only articles and videos mentioning that documentary. In that Vice investigation, foreign workers were building a Trump golf course. On arrival, they had their passports and documents taken. They were forced to live in absolute squalor. 20 people in a room, forced to share a bathroom, rats everywhere.
This documentary produced by Vice and HBO. It was made to sleep in bunk beds, there was no bathroom, and there was only one sink. And there was fucking rats in there as well. And the rent that Donald Trump charged these workers was actually more than what he was paying them. And they would often be paid late as well. But in the grand scheme of things, that was the least of their problem. Because when you look at this properly, if they're being charged more rent than what they're earning, meaning that every day that they're working for Donald Trump, they move further and further into debt, and they're unable to leave because their employers took their fucking documents off of them, then realistically, this can only be called one thing: slave fucking labor.
Their room and board exceeded what they were paid daily. So every day they spent building his golf course, they got more in debt. Remember, their employers have their passport, all of their documents, they cannot leave. So they are effectively slaves with a debt that grows every single day. Core Civic Geo Group, the private prisons holding the ICE detainees, pay them $1 a day for their work. Now the government is imposing thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of fines on these migrants. Are you adding one and one together now? They're going to hold these migrants and force them to work for $1 a day in order to pay off their debt that accrues interest at 5%. On the fines the government imposed on them, up to $1,000 per day. This is part of their evil plan. Remember, even in the death camp of Auschwitz, prisoners were forced to work. Those who couldn't, the weak, the infirmed, women and children were murdered right away. But those who could work were worked to death. Across the gates of Auschwitz, Arbeit macht frei. This is what is happening. They are spelling it out for us.
Let's be clear, throughout this entire tour, it was repeated over and over that the state is working hand in glove with ICE. This facility was inspected by ICE. They review their detention standards. They are using cages. These detainees are living in cages. The pictures that you've seen don't do it justice. They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage. That is the only thing inside those cages are their bunk beds, and there are 3 tiny toilets that are toilet units that have a sink attached to it. So they essentially drink, they get their drinking water and they brush their teeth where they poop in the same unit. They bragged that they went above standards, supposedly, and gave them a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length inside the 32 detainee cage. A 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length of the 3 toilets in a row. The showers provide no privacy at all. There are no curtains on it. It's a big open shower unit. There are, small walls in each shower, but we're talking about all 900 men who are held in this facility. It is built currently for 1,000, and they have no privacy at all when they're showering. For meals, when we walked through the quote unquote meal prep area, the kitchen area, for lack of a better term, they had the portions that were available for detainees, and they had the portions that were available for employees being prepared at the same time. The portions available for employees, large pieces of roast chicken, large sausages, and the detainees' lunches were a small, gray turkey and cheese sandwich, an apple, and chips. And that's it. We're talking about fully grown men being fed very small portions.
Check this one out.
This one is from one of the World's Fairs. It says Exposition Universelle 1894. At the top, we've got this gigantic balloon, and it is tied to and holding up a house, a mansion at that. If I were to zoom in, notice this underneath it. Okay, this is real. This really existed. I looked this up, I had studied this, and this apparently actually was a floating mansion that was tied to a balloon, and this right here was an elevator, an ancient elevator, 1800s, 1894. And the people down here at the bottom at the World's Fair, the people would get into these elevators. There's one right here, actually. You see this one? There's an elevator that's attached, and they would ride the elevator all the way up and get off into this huge mansion that was a floating house in the sky, a floating castle. They made these in the old world. Just wanted to show you, this is from the National Air and Space Museum website and the Smithsonian, and they have a whole article that displays, you know, this floating castle idea. Here's other ones. These are more hot air balloons. So before they actually had the ability to try to steer the ships, navigating the skies, it was pretty much balloons that had ships attached to them, which is why they're called airships, right? As you can see here, it's clearly a boat. It's a skyboat. Right? People rode around. There's even a net. This guy's climbing the net, just like it's a ship, like a pirate ship or something. But these are the pirates of the air, the pirates of the sky. And they learned how to navigate the skies.
So now apparently Marines need help from ICE to secure their own bases. Yeah, because the most elite fighting force on the damn planet suddenly can't handle base security without a bunch of dudes in windbreakers with clipboard energy. They say it's because of a threat from foreign nationals trying to infiltrate installations. Cool fucking story, but here's what they're not saying. There's no transparency, no clear mission, and I guarantee you no oversight, just boom, ICE agents embedded on Marine Corps bases. So let's talk about what we do know. We know Marines have been deployed to Los Angeles. We know they have already detained civilians after saying they wouldn't. They're now helping ICE with ops in Florida. And then there's the money side. The GOP just handed ICE a fat check for $170 billion and their bloated bullshit bill. The entire fucking Marine Corps asked for $57.2 billion. So ICE gets 3 times the budget of the Marine Corps now? Let me break it down. ICE is snatching people off the street, throwing them in detention centers, and if the media doesn't shine a light on each and every one, poof, they're gone, not to be seen again. Now they're partnering with the military. What the hell do you think that's gonna look like? You want to know what this really is? This is domestic militarization. This is authoritarian creep, and it's moving fast. This is the militarization of ICE and the deputizing of the Marine Corps. While we're all watching people lose healthcare and food assistance, this regime is out here fusing law enforcement with the fucking Marine Corps. And no one's blinking. This ain't just not normal. This is straight up dangerous. We've seen this before in history, and it never ends well. So yeah, start fucking talking about it.
What are 2 clips that give off the same energy?
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Canadian couple was denied entry into the U.S. because they said they did not support Trump when asked at the border. You heard that correctly. They were asked if they supported Trump. They answered honestly, no. So they went to another border crossing. This time, when asked the same question, they said they did support Trump just to get across the border. They told them that they knew they were lying and they were banned for 4 years. No crime, no threat, just an honest answer to a political question they should never have been asked. It's not in the news because what is a Canadian supposed to do? Call the local station yelling code red, warning up ahead, don't try to enter. Yes, that's exactly what needs to happen. There is an increase in travel bans for Canadians entering America. I want you to let this sink in. People being denied entry because they don't support Trump. This is an abuse of power, a silencing of political dissent. This is not democracy. This is control. This is authoritarianism. I am personally welcoming a ban from the U.S. at this point, but others deserve the truth before they book a flight, get in their car, and make travel plans to come to a country that is on the human rights watch list. Share this, protect each other, get the message out to Canadians and to the world. Stop coming to America. It is not a safe place to be right now. The land of the free. My are you coming to a country that is on the human rights watch list? Why? I mean, we're trying to get out, and the irony is not lost on me.
So the ladies' favorite word for men today are narcissist. Narcissist is the trending word. No matter what the argument is, the men are narcissists. So I, being the investigative content creator that I am, baby, I went and looked up the word narcissist because I wanted to get a true definition. And I seen this image pop up, behaviors of a narcissist. Lack of empathy for others, has a strong desire for attention and admiration from others, consistently has problematic relationships, and has inflated sense of self-worth or importance. Wait a minute now. Isn't it always the women online complaining about how none of their relationships are working because it's the men? But the men be in relationships sometimes and they be happy, but y'all don't. That sounds like constantly being in problematic relationships. And then the overinflated self-worth. Everybody's a 10. Nobody's average because I'm a 10, right? And then on the other side, not having empathy for others. Girl, I'm going to do what I want to do because this is my life to live. It don't matter if it hurt him, F them kids. Y'all see strangers struggling and don't care, right? And it is mostly women that be online half naked, acting a fool for what? Likes and views or admiration and attention. If the men are narcissists, how is it that the ladies are fitting these descriptive words so well? Why is it that these behaviors are found in so many women if the men are the narcissists? I'm trying to figure it out.
This is in Berlin, Connecticut. Right now, this is from Chris Webby's stories. They are spraying dicot in your lakes. We tried to warn everyone. We said, look, they're going to try to spray Connecticut, Massachusetts, all these places. And we successfully got them to not do the one spray, which was considered to be the main bunch of lakes and rivers in Connecticut. But they're still spraying a bunch of ponds. Watch the turtles rise to the surface in the coming days. Look, we're doing everything we can. I don't know what to tell you. Here's who you can contact if you're pissed off about this. Tell them to stop spraying. The guy obviously thinks it's safe, but according to recent studies, it's quite a bit more toxic than even glyphosate, which is also found in 90% of people's bloodstreams now. Glyphosate and atrazine. That's the one that reverses the gender of frogs.
Смотри, человек, не слишком ли бесцеремонен твой гость?
А, черт!